discovery beneath the ancient oak tree changed everything. Far from the royal castle, the mysterious village girl now carried the same mark that had appeared throughout the kingdom's oldest records. What had once seemed like a forgotten fairy tale was becoming a living mystery, and Queen Cinderella knew the answers could no longer remain hidden. At dawn, Cinderella summoned the king and her most trusted scholars. For years, the hidden chamber had been treated as a royal secret. Now, after the disappearance of one glass slipper and the appearance of a new heir, the investigation entered a dangerous new chapter. Among the newly recovered records was a manuscript unlike any discovered before. Hidden between damaged pages was a faded title that immediately captured everyone's attention: The Order of the Glass Star. No one in the room had ever heard those words before. According to the manuscript, the Fairy Godmother had never worked alone. She belonged to a secret organization that had protected royal bloodlines for centuries. Their mission was simple yet extraordinary: guard the Chosen Heirs until the kingdom needed them most. The manuscript described how the order secretly operated across the kingdom. Hidden monasteries, forgotten towers, and underground sanctuaries served as safe houses where ancient knowledge and sacred relics were preserved from generation to generation. As scholars continued translating the manuscript, they uncovered the official symbol of the Order of the Glass Star. It depicted a crystal slipper enclosed within a radiant star. To the members of the order, it represented the bond between destiny, royal bloodlines, and the guardians sworn to protect them. The manuscript also described a ceremonial oath spoken by every guardian. The words promised absolute loyalty to the Chosen Heirs, even at the cost of their own lives. For centuries, the order had remained hidden, protecting a secret that now threatened to resurface. Meanwhile, far from the castle, the village girl experienced another vision. This time, she saw a hidden monastery surrounded by mist-covered hills. Though she had never visited such a place, every detail felt strangely familiar. When she awoke, she immediately sketched what she had seen. To her surprise, the drawing matched a location already marked within the Order's ancient maps. Hundreds of miles apart, both investigations were now following the same trail. Back at the castle, the king decided to personally join the search. If the Fairy Godmother's order truly existed, then the kingdom's future might depend upon discovering what remained of its hidden network before someone else did. Several days after leaving the capital, the royal expedition finally arrived at the monastery from the village girl's vision. Hidden among mist-covered hills and surrounded by centuries-old forests, the ancient structure appeared untouched by time. The moment Queen Cinderella saw it, she knew they had reached an important piece of the mystery. Inside the monastery, investigators discovered dozens of carved symbols hidden throughout the stone walls. Though worn by age, the markings clearly matched the emblem of the Order of the Glass Star. For the first time, physical proof connected the secret organization to a real location. Near the monastery's altar, a hidden mechanism was discovered beneath a loose stone slab. After hours of careful work, the investigators uncovered a concealed passage descending deep below the building. Whatever secrets the Order had protected, they had not intended them to be easily found. Torch in hand, Cinderella, the king, and a small group of trusted companions descended into the darkness. The air grew colder with every step. Far below the monastery, hidden beneath centuries of history, a forgotten sanctuary slowly emerged from the shadows. At the center of the sanctuary, stood a remarkable relic, unlike anything they had seen before. Suspended within a crystal display was a glass star medallion identical to the Order's symbol. Beneath it rested a faded inscription that mentioned a guardian known only as the First Godmother. As the explorers examined the glass star medallion, scholars began translating the faded inscription beneath it. The ancient text described a guardian who had lived centuries before the Fairy Godmother. She was known throughout the Order as the First Godmother, the founder who established the sacred duty of protecting the Chosen Heirs. According to the inscription, the First Godmother had gathered protectors from every corner of the kingdom. Together they formed the Order of the Glass Star, swearing to defend a bloodline believed to be essential to the kingdom's future survival. Yet one passage stood apart from all the others. It warned of an enemy known only as the Shadow Court, a secret force that had spent generations searching for the Chosen Heirs and the relics that protected them. For centuries, the Order had hidden its knowledge to prevent the Shadow Court from finding the heirs. Entire monasteries were abandoned, records were concealed, and sanctuaries vanished from history. What appeared to be forgotten ruins were often carefully protected secrets. As the translation continued, another startling detail emerged. The inscription claimed that every godmother inherited her role from a predecessor. The Fairy Godmother, who helped Cinderella, was only the latest guardian in a chain stretching back hundreds of years. Far away, the village girl experienced another vision. This time, she saw a woman she had never met, dressed in silver robes and carrying a crystal staff. The woman's face remained hidden, but her presence felt strangely familiar. When the vision faded, one detail remained clear in her memory. The woman had worn the same glass star symbol found within the monastery sanctuary. Without realizing it, the girl had witnessed one of the Order's ancient guardians. Back within the sanctuary, investigators discovered a hidden compartment behind the medallion display. Inside rested several sealed scrolls untouched for generations. Their wax seals still carried the mark of the Order of the Glass Star. Among the scrolls was a detailed map identifying additional sanctuaries scattered beyond the kingdom's borders. Some had been lost for centuries, while others appeared to remain active long after the Order supposedly disappeared. The map revealed one location unlike all the others. Deep within a remote mountain valley stood a sanctuary marked with a royal seal. According to the records, it housed knowledge reserved only for the highest guardians of the Order. Believing the mountain sanctuary might hold answers about the missing slipper, Cinderella ordered preparations for another expedition. The deeper they traveled into the Order's history, the more urgent the mystery became. That evening, the village girl experienced her strongest vision yet. Standing within a vast underground hall, she saw rows of glass relics stretching into darkness. At the far end stood a sealed door bearing the emblem of the Shadow Court. She awoke frightened but determined. For the first time, the visions no longer felt like fragments of the past. They felt like warnings about events that had not yet happened. Meanwhile, scholars continued examining the recovered scrolls. One passage suggested that the Shadow Court had never truly disappeared. Instead, it had simply gone underground, waiting for the return of a chosen heir. As the final scroll was opened, a hidden message appeared between the faded lines. It contained a single warning written by one of the ancient godmothers. When the heir awakens, the shadows will awaken as well. Guided by the recovered map, Queen Cinderella and the king led their expedition into the remote northern mountains. According to the Order's records, the final sanctuary contained secrets known only to the highest guardians, knowledge hidden from the world for centuries. After days of travel, the explorers entered a secluded valley, hidden between towering peaks. There, partially concealed by forests and stone, stood the sanctuary marked on the ancient map. Its architecture was older than anything they had encountered before. Unlike previous sanctuaries, this one displayed both the symbol of the glass star and another unfamiliar emblem carved beside it. Scholars immediately recognized the second mark. It matched the warning associated with the Shadow Court. The discovery confirmed their greatest fear. The Order had not merely protected the heirs, it had been engaged in a secret struggle against the Shadow Court for generations. The kingdom's hidden history was far more dangerous than anyone imagined. Deep within the sanctuary, investigators uncovered a chamber containing hundreds of preserved records. Many described forgotten guardians whose names had vanished from history. Others detailed encounters with enemies operating from the shadows. Among those records was a remarkable illustration showing generations of godmothers stretching back centuries. Each guardian appeared to inherit the same staff, the same symbol, and the same sacred responsibility. At that same moment, the village girl experienced another powerful vision. She saw the ancient sanctuary even though she had never visited it. More importantly, she saw a hidden door that did not appear on any map. When the vision ended, she immediately sketched the hidden doorway and its surrounding symbols. Unaware of her actions, she had just provided the key to a mystery that had remained concealed for centuries. Back at the sanctuary, investigators noticed that the girl's sketch perfectly matched an unusual section of wall hidden behind shelves of records. The resemblance was too precise to be coincidence. After carefully moving the shelves aside, the explorers revealed a concealed doorway, sealed for generations. Carved above it were ancient words that translated to a single phrase: the Chamber of Origins. Inside, the chamber rested relics older than any previously discovered. Crystal artifacts, ceremonial robes, and records dating back hundreds of years suggested that the Order's history stretched far beyond anything preserved in royal archives. Then, at the far end of the room, Cinderella discovered something extraordinary. Hanging upon the wall was a massive portrait preserved within an ornate frame. The moment she saw it, she froze in disbelief. The woman in the portrait looked exactly like the fairy godmother. Her face, clothing, and crystal staff matched every description recorded within the Order's manuscripts. Yet the painting itself appeared impossibly ancient. Scholars examined the pigments, canvas, and accompanying records. Their conclusions stunned everyone present. The portrait had been created more than 500 years earlier, centuries before Cinderella's fairy godmother should have existed. As silence filled the chamber, Cinderella stared at the impossible image. If the portrait truly predated the fairy godmother by centuries, then one question remained. Was the fairy godmother a single person, or part of something far older than anyone had ever imagined? If the portrait was painted 500 years ago, then who or what was the fairy godmother really? As silence filled the Chamber of Origins, Queen Cinderella stared at the impossible portrait before her. Every detail matched the fairy godmother she had known. The same face, the same eyes, the same crystal staff. Yet the records were undeniable. The portrait had been painted more than 500 years earlier. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then a chilling question echoed through the ancient chamber. If the portrait truly predated the fairy godmother by centuries, then who or what was the fairy godmother really? And if the Order of the Glass Star had protected this secret for generations, what else had been hidden from history? The answers lay somewhere beyond the mountains, beyond the forgotten sanctuaries, and perhaps beyond time itself. But one thing was now certain: the mystery of the glass slippers,